Hi there, Eddie Stevens here. Not Dr. Eddie Stevens, just the anti-doctor Eddie Stevens. This is a weird video. The last one I did, I remember I think I was laying on the floor. Was I naked? I couldn't have been. I must have dreamt that, but I was laying on the floor. This one, I don't know what's going on. It just looks bad quality. My facial hair looks extra patchy and terrible. My nose is incredibly bent. That's not because of the camera though, that's just the way I look. I feel too big. I feel like the screen is too small. I'm taking up too much space. It's weird. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Couple of things before I start talking about LPR really quickly. If you hear any weird panting, slobbering, yelping, rolling refs or combat sounds, got a couple of girls over and it's my dogs. My dogs actually don't know where they are now, but there's a thunderstorm and I have two massive pit bulls and they're the biggest pussies on earth. And if they hear a distant rumbling sound, they go completely insane and lose their minds. They won't stop licking me, and there's a good chance that they're going to both throw up their food soon. They're just they might have LPR because they're very, very, very sensitive. But anyway, if you hear noise, that's what that is. Also, if I sound sick or I'm coughing during this, it's not LPR, don't worry. That was the dogs. It's not LPR. I've just got a little cold that's giving me a bit of a cough. My sinuses are bothering me. It's not that bad. It might be COVID. I don't care. Whatever it is, it's not really phasing me that much. But I might cough. So I'm making this video. It's been when I first started making these videos, I think I promised I would do one a week. But it's just, not only is it not practical, it's not necessary because I've got so many videos up there that I've pretty much covered every base. The only reason I'm doing this video now is, well, there's a few reasons. One is that I've noticed that people tend to need constant reassurance and they like hearing the same thing again and again. So I will touch on some of the same things just to make you feel good, put a Band-Aid on it. What was I saying? Also, oh yeah, there's a couple of people have asked me some questions that I promised I would answer on here. And just like the last video, I've actually forgotten what one of them was and couldn't find it. So just like last time, if you asked me, if I said I was going to answer a question on here and I don't, sorry, I'm doing my best. I just can't. From now on, I'll either answer it in the comments, or if I say I'm going to answer it on here, I will make a note and I'll make sure that I answer it. That's embarrassing. But where was I? Yeah. So, first of all, before I get going any further, I also wanted to say, you know how I've told you one of the most important things is to avoid negative comments, avoid those message boards, those group chats, those forums where people talk about LPR because it's just people telling you how terrible it is, how they've never recovered and blah, blah, blah. I actually had to block a couple of people because they tried to do that on one of my YouTube videos. Sorry, that's actually the sound of a dog door. It's an indestructible dog door because my dogs ate two doggy doors. So I had to buy an indestructible one, but it sounds like a building collapsing every time they come through it. I hope you can hear it, otherwise I just sound insane. But yeah, so a couple of negative comments saying basically that it's impossible to recover from LPR. Both of these comments said that. And I actually I'm just going to adjust this slightly because I feel like, is that better? Well, now I'm looking down my nose at you, you pathetic people. That's not good, is it? Sorry. Or I'll sit back here. How's that? Just kidding. So yeah, a couple of negative comments where they're saying that this is impossible. Even saying, trying to back it up with scientific bullshit, no, the lower esophageal sphincter cannot recover once it's blah, 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 blah. Whatever they're saying, it's complete bullshit because it offends me personally to hear it for two reasons. One is that I have recovered. So they're either telling me that I don't think they're telling me that I'm some kind of godlike being that can achieve the impossible and heal miraculously from the unhealable. So presumably they're telling me I'm lying. What kind of a psychopath would give false hope to people on a small YouTube channel on a relatively obscure illness? It doesn't make sense. So initially I got pissed off and I told them, get that negative shit out of here. No one wants to hear that. And then I blocked them. But from now on, I'll just block them. I'm not going to say anything because they're not worth the time. And these people are probably suffering. I mean, I'm assuming some people deal with their suffering in different ways, and some people just kind of want to suffer and they want you to suffer too, I think. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this. It's the devil. God, it's so noisy. Now my dogs are tap dancing on tile, it sounds like, around the corner. Sorry, I just got a message on my phone, which I'm recording with, and that phased me. Yeah, negative comments. Oh, yeah. So I'll just block them from now on, but make sure, it's just a nice reminder. It's all very well to have doubts and ask me well, how did you do this, and be skeptical. That's fine. But do not leave any comments that, like I said, no one wants to hear it. Even if you're sure you're right, what good is that going to do? Everybody knows that anyone who's recovered from a serious illness, nobody is. Let's say cancer, for example. I'm willing to bet that no one has ever recovered from cancer with a negative attitude. I'm sure they have negative moments. I'm sure they have their doubts. I'm sure they're scared, but pretty sure if you really want to recover, you have to believe that you can, right? So we don't want any of that negative shit. It's not helpful, and also it's bullshit. Anyway, a question somebody asked me, the one that I actually remember, was had a hint of the negative to it, but I don't have a problem with it. It was a good question. It was so you don't have any symptoms at all? None. Which is a good question, because I wanted to answer. I think I said this in my response when I replied. I said, I want to say no, I don't have any symptoms, but it's a bit complicated. And what I meant by that was, by the way, the dogs coming in and out, and they do this. They only do this if I'm trying to talk to somebody, whether it's a YouTube video or a podcast I do, or I have somebody over, I'm talking on the phone. They just go in and out and in and out and in and out because they hate me and they want to drive me insane. And look what they've done. They've derailed the whole video. But yeah, it's complicated. Do I have no symptoms of LPR at all? Well, the answer is no, I don't. It's correct, I don't. But I've had my doubts at times because, and I know I've addressed this in previous videos, right? They're doing it again. I'm gonna have to kill these dogs. In a second, I'm gonna have to pause this and kill my dogs. I think that's the only option. I don't know if that's an overreaction. I've had my doubts because, as I said in previous videos, when you have LPR, you're already sensitive to start with, right? Once you've had all these horrendous symptoms, you become super sensitive to everything going on in your body, right? And any little thing, you could stub your toe and it's oh my God, I got LPR in my toe. You know what I mean? You just really start to become paranoid. And for example, I've got a cough right now. It's my sinuses hurt. I got a cough, a sore throat. I've had it for a couple of days. It's starting to go away. If this had happened when I was trying to recover, no doubt I would have gone, oh no, it's LPR, it's even worse than ever, right? But it's just a cough, right? And similarly, interesting story, I started thinking, I would sometimes wake up and my lungs would, here they come again, make up your fucking mind! You've no idea, I'm looking out the window. My dog just stepped halfway through the dog door, backed out, went in again, and went out again. I'm sorry. I don't want to redo this video, so this is going to be a stupid video. I'm sorry. I'll try and stay on track. Now my dog's looking at me like he's upset that I've yelled at him. I can't remember what I was saying. Oh, yeah. So I would wake up occasionally. This happened very recently. I'd noticed that for a few months, my lungs on occasion, would be irritated when I wake up in the morning. And I'd be like, not painful, just irritated, like definitely something. And for a moment, I started having a bit of doubt. I started going, am I having LPR again? And I knew how to deal with it, so I dealt with it the right way, and it went away. But it came back, and I realized that every time I had this irritation in my lungs, so I live in New Mexico, and there's a lot of mountains around me and forest, and during the summer, a lot of forest fires. And I realized every time I woke up and my lungs were irritated, there was a forest fire somewhere. The news had a warning for like air quality. So I think my lungs are just very sensitive to the smoke in the air. But you can see, like, just that little thing. Even I, a Jedi Master Ninja badass who has recovered from LPR, can have doubts every now and again. So that's why I didn't want to just say, it's like, this is the thing with LPR. It's not a disease, in my opinion. I'm not a doctor. But it's, in my opinion, it's not a disease. It's a set of symptoms. He's doing it again. It's a set of symptoms that they've come up with a label for, a name. They call it LPR, right? So you can always have a symptom, right? Like, and I'm sure I've touched on this before, or even explained in great detail. Nobody feels great all the time. Nobody feels 100% perfect all the time. If you've never had LPR and you wake up one day with a bit of a sore throat, you won't even think about it. You might just go, I've got a bit of a sore throat, at most, right? But if you've had LPR, you go, oh no, that's coming back, right? So that's why I don't like to say, you can't just say I have no symptoms, because even people who don't have LPR have LPR symptoms. Does that make sense? But nevertheless, I am fully recovered. I don't have any of the lump in my throat, the tightness in my diaphragm. I don't have any of the unable to sleep at night because I'm so stressed about it. I don't Google shit. I'm fine. Now, there was another question. If you asked me a question, I said I was going to answer it. I'm very sorry. I'm very stupid. Interesting thing that I thought about recently that I would like you to help me with, okay? Since I've done so much for you. I was actually having a nice chat, shout out now to a nice guy from England, Stephen King. Not the Stephen King, and Stephen, you're welcome. I did not once mention the fact that your name is Stephen King, like the horror author. But we had a nice long chat, and I asked him a question, because it just occurred to me very recently, a few days ago. I have what is called an essential tremor. And if you don't know what that is, it just means that my hands are always a little tiny bit shaky. Like, I don't think you can even tell, but if I try and do something complicated, a little delicate task with my fingers, my hands get really shaky. To the point where, and this is since I was a child, before I ever had any anxiety attacks or anything like that, back in the good old days when there was no stress. I've always had this. And I just thought to myself, I wonder if other people, since we have so many things in common, I talk to dozens and dozens of LPR sufferers. There are so many personality similarities, health issues that are similar, even like events, like life events that are similar. Just a lot of similarities, and I'm curious. I wonder if other people might have this, because, and this is the most unscientific bullshit way of trying to, of an experiment, whatever the hell this is. But what if it turns out, so leave a comment on this video, just tell me if you have noticed in your life that you have shaky hands, because, and say if you don't as well, because if it's 50-50, I'll just say, fuck it. But if overwhelmingly people all agree that they have this thing, that's got to mean something, right? Like, it must be nerve related, and it might imply that there's some kind of physiological origin to developing LPR. I mean, at the very least, it might just mean, oh, it's a nerve issue. That's why we are more anxious. There's something wrong with our nerves. Who knows? But whatever it is, I'm going to find it out. I'm going to develop a drug, and we will be better. Anyway. It's going to be kind of a long video. Another really interesting thing I want to talk about. Oh, and by the way, really quickly, when I was talking to Steve in England, like it was my pleasure to chat with him. If you do want to talk to me, like actually over the phone, I'm happy to do it. I just don't want it to become. I don't want it to get to a point where like I don't have that much free time. So I'm happy to do it. And Stephen was even nice enough to say that he could compensate me for my time. I would never feel comfortable charging people because, to be honest, it's my pleasure if I can help in any way. That being said, now that I mention it, I do have a PayPal account link on my YouTube page. I don't even know if it works, but what you can always do, if you think I've really helped you and it's just blown your mind, you can always put a donation in there. I don't even know how it works. I'm sure you can put any amount. Put a penny in there, you know, or nothing, or take some out. You withdraw money from my PayPal account. I don't mind. Yeah, if you feel like you want to, you can, but that's about it. To be honest with you, I'm not going to really feel like I deserve anything until somebody can tell me they've actually gone a significant length of time without suffering. That's when I'll feel really good, and then I will feel like you fuckers really owe me. I'm just joking. But you know what I mean? Like, if people start to, you say, oh, I've been feeling 100% better for 6 months now, that's when I'll feel really good about it. And so on. Anyway, I'm losing my train of thought again. Oh yeah, but if you do want to talk to me over the phone, if you think you really need to and it really helps, I can probably find time. If it gets to the point where it's taken up too much time, then I don't know. I'm sure that won't happen. Who the hell do I think I am? You know what? I'm going to save. This is turning into a long video. It's already almost 20 minutes. So I'm going to save what I was going to talk about for the next one, which is an interesting. I don't know if I may have talked about this on another video, actually. I'm too lazy to go back and look, so I might be repeating myself on the next one. But the next video, I'm going to talk about something called chronic pelvic pain syndrome, which is related to LPR, and I have a very slightly amusing and interesting story about that. So we'll get into that later. I'm ending this now. I've had enough. My dogs can tell I'm nearly done because they've gone to sleep. But I'll just leave you with three things. First of all, once again, I'm not a medical doctor, so take everything I say with a pinch of salt. You know, not too much salt, just the right amount. And if you're not going to read You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza, at least watch some of his videos on YouTube. Just search Dr. Joe Dispenza, find some of his stuff. It's unbelievably helpful. It's unbelievably on the money. And you can hear people that don't have LPR, but who have recovered from illnesses in the same kind of way that I'm telling you to. And it's just a bit deeper. And sometimes Dr. Joe Dispenza, it can be a little bit too out there and hard to follow. And sometimes I don't know what the hell anyone's talking about. But stick with it because there is a very powerful and helpful message in there. Also, look into the Wim Hof method of breathing. That's really helpful. As I say that, I realize I haven't done it in months. But there's an app, a Wim Hof method, Wim Hof breathing, something like that app teaches you how to do this special breathing technique, which I've talked about in the past. I've had a link for it, I'm sure, that is very helpful. So Joe Dispenza, Wim Hof, do that. I'm going to kill my dogs, and goodbye.